Okay, hello, this is Jim and Michelle. We're here with Monopoly Project, and we're here to discuss the house in Laveen. You've seen some of the previous videos on, we bought a house. During escrow, it got shot up, literally with a gun. And so we're here to have an actual decision meeting. We're going to decide whether to go ahead. We have Jeff Sutherland of ERP Realty, our real estate
EXP
agent.
Realty.
EXP, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
And we also have Sherman Weeks, our property manager of Crest Premier Properties. This is
Alright.
also his place, very nice place. Thank you for letting us use it. And so what we're gonna do is we have an agenda here. What we're gonna ask is to Sherman, Jeff, and Michelle each have some additional information that not everybody has heard, and obviously you've not heard it. So we're gonna get that out of the way first so that everybody has the same set of information when we get into our decision process. And then we're gonna walk into three types of questions: the legal aspects of this, the financial aspects of this, and the moral aspects of this, because we're extremely concerned about all three. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off. We're going to ask Sherman some basic financial questions, knowing what he knows now. What does he think of the rentability of the place? He had given us an estimate earlier of $1,300 a month. Is he okay with being the property manager in this situation? What about disclosures? What kind of disclosures do we have to make? And so I'm going to turn it over to Sherman and sort of give us an outline of what you think of this from a financial point of view and property management.
It's nice to be here with all of you. When I got involved in this project, I didn't realize that we were going to have this kind of excitement.
Right.
So, it's unusual, but I really appreciate the team approach to making a decision in a situation like this. I still think that the property is an excellent property. Based on what I said earlier, the neighborhood is great despite the shooting incident. We have properties that we manage on Glen. We have properties that we manage on 46 Glen. So I know the neighborhood really, really good. We have not had any problems before this situation. The properties in the area, I looked at some recent comps, and I'm pretty confident that we can actually get more than $1,300.
More?
Yes, the comps I looked at shows that we can get anywhere between $1,350, I would say even as much as $1,375, but certainly $1,350. So yes, the property is right. It's a beautiful house. It's actually a very nice layout. Yes, I think we can get about $1,375 for the property. So that moves it a bit. Because what has happened is that the property values and the rental values in Laveen has been moving up steadily for the last 3 years. And my wife and myself own properties in Laveen as well, and we know that they're really good. We manage numerous properties in Laveen. It's probably a major area for properties. So.
Okay, and so what about the disclosure aspects of this from property management point of view?
Well, as I was saying earlier, disclosure is, do you disclose or you don't disclose? I personally like disclosing. Because in property management, the neighbors will disclose for you if you forget or refuse to disclose. And we must keep that in mind. In a situation like this, it may attach some stigma to the house, and the neighbors will tell whoever. They may not know before they move in, but once they move in and they get to know the neighbors, they will tell the tenant that, do you remember, you know what happened to this property? So they will disclose for you. So I'm thinking that it was my property, and if I was to advise, I would say definitely I would disclose, even though you don't have to. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, anything else do you want to add to that?
The question as to whether I'm comfortable managing the property, I don't have a problem personally managing the property. No, if you have another incident, then I would say absolutely. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem managing the property.
Okay. Well, and I'm really glad to hear Sherman say that, because if he was going to say he didn't want to do it, then I'd be out. Because, right? So that's good to hear. Let's go on to the next issue of this, and that's the moral issue. And as Sherman points out, that we can rent this, we can disclose it. My concern is the liability, and I look at the liability, the risk, in two different ways. One is, what if I buy the place, we rent it to somebody, and the person comes back and somebody gets hurt or even worse? Am I legally liable? Maybe, maybe not, but morally I would feel very bad. And the question is, do we want to be in that business? The other risk in buying this is, what if the guy comes, before we rent it, the guy comes back and does it again and again, and so the property is unusable?
Could I jump in before you
Yeah.
answer?
Go ahead.
Okay, so what I said is that I don't mind managing the property, right? So we have made a decision yet. The question though is, do you have to proceed with this property, given that there may be other options out there, right? That really is probably what Jeff would probably comment on later.
You're right.
So I'm in on this project fully. And my commitment is to manage properties that we purchase under this project. So if we decide in this meeting that we're going to proceed, we will manage the property for you. I want to make that absolutely clear.
Good, good. So anyway, Michelle, back to the moral question. You know, I had mentioned that in Paul's letter to the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, I'll defer to our better theologians here. He says, just because something is allowed doesn't mean it's good or it's acceptable. And I think this applies, that this scripture applies in this case, because just because something's legal and allowable, do you really want to be in that business? I mean, we also run a medical business, and we already made the decision we're not going to be in legal medical marijuana, because we don't think that's right.
Right.
And that's a case of something's allowed, but it's not good. I guess my question here is do we want to get in the situation of where we rent it out, something bad happens, and even though we're not legally liable, morally we're not going to feel very good about it.
Well, you know, and there's another alternative to this, is that it's called hit and miss. We can turn it into a B&B, Airbnb.
Well, that's an interesting idea.
There's possibilities that are 50-50. No, I'm teasing.
No, I understand.
But no, you have to really make a decision whether or not you feel that this is morally. I feel that, you know what, is my first inclination was to say, no, I don't want this, I'm gonna step back, because like you said, if something else continues to happen, or it escalates or whatever, because we don't know the motivation. If we knew the motivation behind the shooting, then that would make me feel so much more comfortable. Was this a random act because it was because it was vacant? Was this a retaliation to the people who lived there? Or was this, maybe they were told they had to move and they were trying to do something, there? Maybe it was the wrong house. We just don't know, and I don't think the police report's gonna give that. The police just come out, they take a report, and then they walk away because there was no injury. So where we stand at is this gonna be repeated? We don't know. But do you need to disclose it? Absolutely, so that way renter beware, This did happen, we don't know why. We might have to hold on to it for a month or more, just to kind of make sure that, we've given it some kind of time. Does that change the price of the rent? No, I don't think so.
Is it going to be rentable if you disclose that? If I was a renter and I read that on a disclosure, I don't know if I'd be too excited about renting a house.
I think that's a factor too, and because you disclose it, it may force you to compromise on price.
Well, then if we do have to do that, then we have to get it at the price that it would be workable, so,
Yeah, and let me make that point, that Sherman raised the point, and it's an excellent point, and I want to just make it very clear to everybody that if we were talking about buying this at list price, we would say no, because we just go down the street to a house that didn't have the stigma, right? The only way this makes sense from a financial point of view is that if we get it at a significant discount. And so that's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes here with Jeff on the motivation of the seller, the seller's agent, and this and that. But to finish out the moral aspects of it, I think the other way I think about it is somebody's going to buy this house and they're either going to live it in themselves or they're going to rent it. It's not going to sit there vacant forever. And so it isn't like we're making a decision where that if we held it off the market, it would never be used. I mean, unfortunately, both residential and commercial businesses have very bad things happen in them every day of the year, and life goes on and people continue to use those facilities. So So it's not like we're the only ones who are gonna hold it off the market. Somebody's gonna buy it, somebody's gonna live there,
Right.
so.
And if I could just weigh in, so my duty is to be obedient to you. That's what I do. So whatever you decide is what I'll do. Of course, you know, I'd love to be able to come back after my trip from Israel, which I get back on the 6th of June, and have a commission after a few days. That'd be wonderful. Would I love to see you guys get a good return, ROI on the property? Yes, I believe you'll be able to get it at a deep discount. These are all amazing things financially. And then I put myself in the position that it goes back to what you just said. We don't know. And if we don't know, if I were in your shoes, as good as this is, I would prefer, I'm hoping you decide not to buy it. And it pains me to say it, because I've gone through a lot of work myself to get to this point, you know. But I have to put, I think, my moral compass above any deal, and I believe that if we don't know who did it, I would not want to look over my shoulder, always wondering, you know, if something's going to happen to that property. Now, I might be overreacting. I realize that. I might be overreacting and blowing it out of proportion, but I guess I don't feel comfortable with this. It scares me. I think about a family being in there, and it scares me.
Yeah,
you know?
no, and I understand your reaction exactly, because that was my initial reaction. I think it was especially Michelle's initial reaction. But I guess, and I don't want to get in a debate on morality, because
Sure.
each of us has.
That's
our
just my
own.
position, but I want you to
yeah,
do whatever you want.
Yeah, but my question is again what I stated earlier, that somebody's gonna buy it, somebody's gonna live there.
It's very true.
You do acting or not acting doesn't have any bearing on that from a logical point of view.
Yeah, very true.
So I mean,
I'm very curious to why Zillow has not repaired the place this quickly. Why have they not? Do they feel like because it was vacant, do they have experience in this from other cities, you know?
Well, technically, they don't have to fix it until we close. They can have it done the day before, as long as it's.
Right, but I mean, you know, I wonder if that's a tactic that they use, you know, like this happens to vacant houses, you know, and you know, have they,
I'm going first.
because they buy, what, 20,000 houses a month?
yeah, that's
So
what
they
the
buy
report said.
20,000 houses a month, you know, and they say, well, you know what, we've experienced this in the past, that when they're a vacant house, they can get shot up or vandalized or whatever, you know. The only thing that, you know, so,
Yeah. No, I agree with Michelle
Makes me-
100%. I don't, if I were the seller of the property, I would wanna make it look as good as possible, as soon as possible,
Yes,
because
that's all.
I have to do it eventually anyway.
Yeah.
There's no point in delaying.
There's no got a contract.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're leaving this eyesore out there that's associated with them,
Mhm.
but again, I, you know,
Because the thing is that you could have walked away,
yeah,
right, during the inspection period. You're still in the inspection period, right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have walked away. So to me, they should be thinking, well, they're probably not thinking like, you know, they should be thinking, what if he walks away? How soon can we start sharing it again?
Yeah.
So to me, they should have gone ahead and fixed it right away. You know, I
Right.
thought they were gonna get done that day, and like they couldn't replace the windows that day unless they.
I could.
Yeah, they could. Yeah,
you
but
know, I could call my glass person
Well,
and
yeah,
I'd
but,
stop it going, I'd have it done the next day, because I'd wanna hide it.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway, so maybe we'll learn something more about that in the coming days and weeks and months, maybe we won't.
But you're right, at some point, they're gonna have to, you know, utilize the property again,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So let's go on to the financial aspects of it. Like I said, if we don't get this house at a discount, then there's no point.
Right,
There's no point in buying it, because we can buy one that doesn't have this stigma, doesn't have this moral risk associated with it. So the real question comes down, now that we've gotten Sherman's input on the rent, and he's confirmed that at least it's where we thought it was, and maybe even a little better.
Yeah.
If we could get this house at a significant discount, it would be a great financial deal.
Yeah, it would.
Leaving aside the liability issues and the moral issues. So, Jeff, if you could just talk a little about your discussions with the seller's agent and their understanding of that. I think to let people know that they understand the situation they're in.
Yeah.
From a
Yeah.
financial point of view.
Yeah.
So just a little of,
Yeah, I've made sure that my relationship with the listing agent's good and positive, and from the very beginning, I started to plant seeds that we're gonna need to, he's gonna need to think about, you know, discounting the property.
Right.
I wanted to start, you know, getting him okay with that concept. And so the last thing I did last Friday, I believe, was say, hey, listen, you know, we still need to see the property. We need to see the police report because we're still waiting for that. The property is still not fixed, which I'm concerned about. And we also need to have the disclosures updated. And all those are facts that cannot be disputed. And he agreed. And he said, you're absolutely right. And he gave me a timeline on all these things. The police report, low, he still can't commit to giving us that because it's not ready. But all those are true. And I even said, with all these things being said, you can understand this property is definitely not even close to what it was marketed at before. So basically telling him that my buyers are going to come in with a significantly lower offer.
Right, good.
And he didn't really push back at that.
No, because, you know, then he'll have to rethink everything, and then he's got the dubious side, then he's like, will anybody wanna buy it, you know, period, you know? Or maybe it'll be worse than discount, let's just keep these people in play and unload it.
Yeah.
What's the least, you know, and
Yeah.
the game is now, you know, if you were looking, it's all based off finances.
Yeah. So let me, we're gonna come back to that. I wanna make a comment about the seller and the seller's agent. I was very impressed by the seller's agent. His name is
Michael.
Michael. I think they handled this outstanding. Even at the beginning, before this happened, I was very impressed. That this is nothing against the seller's agent. This happened, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't, the same thing with Zillow, the owners. They fixed up the house very, very nice. I was super impressed by it. I wanna buy more
it
Zillow
is.
houses.
Yeah, right.
So,
Really good.
this happened, it's unfortunate for the seller and the seller's agent, but it's nothing against them, they
Right.
reacted. And the other thing I wanna do is compliment the Monopoly team, because I think everybody here reacted appropriately. We were shocked, but we didn't lose our heads. We went forward, we went through the process, and we're still doing that. And I think that's a real tribute to the Monopoly people, I think all of us. Thank you for being on the team.
Thanks.
So-
Thank you.
So now I'm gonna ask Jeff the super tough question, how much of a discount can I get, Jeff?
You know, you know, he did make one comment to me verbally, and he basically just said, you know, that I'm sure they're going to want to discount this, but they're not going to give it away. Well, so, you know, real estate's not a science. You know, I have no idea what their boardroom is saying. And you're right. If you take a big loss on this property, that's going to have to be absorbed through many other properties. So, to me, and this is the just gut feeling, $150,000 would be giving it away. I think to them, I believe they would think that's giving it away. I think 170, 175, that would be something that they might entertain.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong.
And it's listed for 190.
It was 200.
200.
Yeah.
Sorry, 200. That's a $30,000 discount.
So that's what, 15%? 10% would be 180, 20,000. 20% would be 160. 150 would be 25%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you time to think, Sherman. What do you think?
Well, he's thinking we could always go in low and ask for a counter.
Yeah. And well, Sherman's thinking. I will say that if we do go ahead with this, it would be an all-cash offer. We have we've gotten a pre-approval letter through Rocket Mortgage. Alex, I've dealt with Alex, and again, another very professional guy. I was really impressed by Alex and everything he's done. And Rocket Mortgage, which is a part of Quicken Loans, outstanding process. I was really happy with it. So, I explained what happened to him, why the closing was delayed, and what happened. He was shocked. He said that in his almost 1,000 transactions, nothing ever has happened like this. But I also explained to him that we would probably go ahead with an all-cash offer as part of it. Hey, we'll take this off your hands in 3 days. Here's the money. And he did tell me about something I guess I did not know about. I was telling him that we would buy for all cash, and then we would come back in like 6 months or a year and refinance and get our money back. And he said they have a process where you can set that up beforehand. Because typically you got to wait 6 months before you can do that. But he said you could actually set it, and he had a name, and of course I forgot it.
What's the interest rate?
It doesn't matter. It's no different than if you just bought it with the finance.
Streamline
No, but
refi.
It's around 5%.
5%.
It's
What's the
half-
going market
that's
rate
what
of the
that's
bank?
It's 4.5 for owner occupied, 0.5%.
5% is
So
a
we're
good
right in there
investment.
with the
Yes.
banks, okay?
That's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
So 170,000.
So you're saying
170.
What do you say, Michelle?
That's-
I think 150 and hold firm and say, you know what, fix it. We'll give you 150 cash as soon as you put the repairs and we can have it done by Saturday. Done, you're off the market. You know why? Because, you know, people say things,
I like that.
but when the cash comes down, when the rubber hits the tar,
Yeah.
people are like, you know what, stop. It's cash, it's off our hands, we don't have to worry about it anymore, we can close this week, let's just do it.
So we're gonna 25% discount at 150.
Yeah, yeah.
But look what I have to live with.
Yeah.
I've had to make moral decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I may have to hold the market, you know, I might have to lower the rent just to get people in. You know, to be honest with you, I don't think to be honest with you, lowering the rent is going to make that incentive. You know, I mean, you might do it faster, but yet,
It's gonna affect me. You know, the rent is gonna affect the council area, so, I think, you know, it boils down to the disclosure and
yeah.
how the prospect views the disclosure
Yeah.
and where they're comfortable
And rent it
with
for
that. As Jeff said,
$13.25.
where they're comfortable with that.
Yeah. No, and I think Michelle's comment about the 25% discount, I think if we were talking about an individual seller, a person, that might be a little harder, but it's a big company.
You're exactly right.
And what we're doing for them is we're transferring the risk of that property
Exactly.
to us.
To
The
us.
risk that I
Yeah, the
spoke
risk.
about something bad happening again.
Right.
And
Now
the
it's
other
on
risk
us.
is that it's gonna sit there for months now.
Mm-hmm.
And so from both the seller and the seller agent's point of view, we're offering a solution that gets them out of a real bad situation like
Right,
that.
like that.
And so I like the idea of going in with that.
If you're gonna come in
100%.
with straight cash, not many people can do it. We're locked in, that, you know, they're gonna sit there and, you know, somebody's gonna want a discount. And it may sit there for a while, could fall out of escrow, people have second thoughts, all kinds of things, you know. People
Or
all of
the
a
guy can come
sudden.
back.
You got your back. Yeah, put that down there.
But
We'll start putting notes on the door.
So I tend to agree with what Michelle said, and I think the other thing I want to talk about is the other terms and conditions that we want to ask for. Obviously, they gotta fix it, I think they know that goes without saying.
Let me just say this, if you get past the moral aspect and you're okay with that reconciling that issue, 150,000 would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that coming in slamming, you know, cash is king, kind of, you know, it is, and, but we're taking a problem out of their portfolio.
Yeah, I like the narrative. It's easy to explain to them.
Cause
I'm
now
not-
we have the risk, we don't know if we're gonna be able to rent it well, we don't
Yeah.
know, and what if they do come back, we're
You
the ones who
know,
have to pay.
I know we're buying to
costs.
rent, but we also started this project with 100,000. Now we're discussing 150,000. So if you were to get it for 150,000 and decide just rent it for the first year and shift your quote for like selling it and getting a different property, you're still sitting pretty good. Really,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, no.
But look what we have to go through,
I understand.
Yeah.
I fully understand.
so we are earning
Even
that
15
discount.
Yeah,
Over
no, we're
25%
we're providing a service,
Yeah,
a real
yeah.
important service. We're taking the risk on it.
If I were Zillow and I had a portfolio of a lot of properties and I have this white elephant sitting here in my property that creates, you know, a lot of issues, I would say, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just get rid of it, get done with it. And
Because
we
this,
could have this thing closed by the end of the week.
yeah, I think they would be avoiding a publicity nightmare too. That's a pro for them, for
Yeah.
owning it.
So,
Channel 5 actually news.
so anyway, Jeff, I don't wanna get so carried away that we don't talk about other terms and conditions on a closing.
Mhm.
I mean, there's gonna be some closing costs, we're not gonna ask for that, right?
Oh, tell them too, it's already on the Laveen app. Everybody was talking
Oh,
about
that's
it.
right.
It's already open in the area.
Yeah, the one woman promised to text you or
She
email.
did, she said there wasn't any more going on.
But it was on there and it's historical, we should
Mhm.
find that, yeah.
Where everybody's calling in and say on the app saying, hey, I think I hear gunshots, so I think there may be fireworks. No, they're not fireworks, they're guns, they're unloading in
I
this
wonder if
house.
it's Group Me, because I could actually be a member of that and go in there and look at it myself.
Oh,
It might
good,
be
try it
Group,
out.
it might be the Group Me app.
She just said it was an app that they have.
Yeah, it's a lot of people do that. I'll just try to
Okay.
look into
Yeah.
it.
So,
You
again,
can
Je-
say, see, look, it's already
Yeah.
out.
yeah. Again, Jeff, terms and conditions, is there anything else that we typically should ask for? I mean,
If you go cash,
yeah,
no, nothing.
cause
You- you know, you're not gonna get a warranty, cause that house is pretty,
That
pretty,
is,
yeah.
yeah, we don't need a warranty.
No appraisal, no warranty, no closing costs.
So, yeah, so as soon as they sign the contract, the next day we're wired the rest of the money.
Yeah. And they just have to fix the roof.
Well, they got,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
And you know what, geez, if they don't have somebody, I do.
so.
I
So-
will into that too, so.
Okay, so this is a decision process meeting. Obviously, Michelle and I are the principals. Sherman and Jeff are formally our agents, so we value your input. We thank you for everything
Yeah.
you've given us, but it's up to us to make the decision, so what's our choice? Go ahead with the 150?
Yeah. I say we'll go with the 150. I think it could be a one-time situation. Whatever was done was done. I don't think the people will be back. It could be a random shooting. It could have been just a by accident to that house. It could be, you know, revenge. But whatever it is, it was done, it's over with, and I don't think they'll be back. Plus, you know what, people who do things like this return back to the situation, and now maybe they'll know that it's vacant if it was for those people. Or, as long as it remains vacant, they may have another shooting. Except when the bills were placed, you know? I just feel like it was like aimed.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah,
It was
it
definitely
was
targeted.
purposeful.
So you're saying move forward, because you're saying
I
if
do.
it's vacant, it'll come back, okay.
Okay, anything else?
No.
I know, I agree. I think if we get it at 150, I mean, it's financially, it's a super deal. We're
Yeah.
taking a risk. I think we're taking a risk of something bad happening again, but that's life, and that's part of financial decisions. And so.
As long as everything's disclosed, properly disclosed, they're fully aware of it, I feel like, you know what? It's okay.
Okay, so you're okay with going forward, Jeff? I know you had your reservations, but you're acting as our agent, so you're
Yeah.
being a good agent.
Yeah.
And doing what your
I'll move
client said.
forward.
So you move forward, so you wanna close in prayer?
Okay.
Dear God, we come before you on this day, and we ask for the wisdom of Solomon in this situation. We ask for you inform us what you want us to do. We know your proverbs say that commit your plans to the Lord and you'll succeed, and so we ask for that. We also know that as we go forward, we want to walk in your footsteps, not ours. You say that a righteous man walks in the footsteps of the Lord, and so we ask that you put us in those footsteps, put us in your plan and not our plan. Let your will be done on this, and like the neighbor next door said, we'll pray on this and we'll let you decide on these things. And so we ask all those things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.